Welcome to the next series of software engineering. In this series, we'll discuss about the process of database testing. So, process of database testing consists of the software testing and testing the schemas, tables, triggers, etc. So, database testing involves creating complex queries for performing the load or stress test on the database and checks its responsiveness. It checks the integrity and consistency of data. In this case, we discuss about the process of database setting. A database testing usually consists of layered process that includes the user interface, the business layer, and the data access layer on the database. Process of database testings. In this process of database testing, let's see the flow. How does it works on? So, test environment setup, test scenario generation, execution, analysis, and the log defects. Let us see the process of database testing. The test environment setup and test scenario generations are there. Test environment setup. Database testing starts with the setting up of a testing environment for the testing process to be carried out in order to get a good quality of testing process. Test scenario generation. After setting up the test environments, test cases are designed for conducting the test. Test scenario involves different inputs and different transactions related to the database. In the third stage, the execution process is tested here. The execution is the core phase of the testing process in which testing is conducted. It basically related to the execution of the test cases designed for the testing. And in the next step is it is to discuss about the analysis. Once the execution phase is ended, then all the process and the output obtained and analyzed. It is checked whether the testing process has been conducted properly. The next stage is about the log defects. The log defects are also known as reporting. Submitting the last phase testers inform the developer about the defects found in the database of the system. And the next is about the random testing. Random testing is a software testing in which system is tested with the help of generating random and independent input test cases. Random testing is also named as monkey testing. It is in a black box testing assessment routine techniques in which testings are done with the help of a testers where randomly tests are done to check the functionality. Some important points of random testing are first examined by the Melvin Brewer in the year 1971. The testing was initially accessed by Practima and Vijwan Agarwal in the year 1975 to check the successful output of the software. So for random testing, there is also a process where the number of test cases are included and the failures case also included here. This is a sample picture for working process of random testing. How does it works? We'll start with the means of steps. Identify input domains, select test inputs independently, randomly from the input domain, test the system on these inputs and form a random test set. Compare the result with system specification. If the reports fails, then take necessary actions. The below image represents the working of random testing more clearly. So next we'll discuss about the next series of partitioning testing. So in partition technique there is a process where equivalence partition testing is also done. So equivalence class partition, it is a abbreviations of ECP. It is a software testing technique that divides the input test data of the application user of each partition at least once equivalent data which are tested and derived. An advantage of the approach is reduce the time required for performing testing of a software due to less number of test cases. Let's see the equivalence partition methods. Equivalence partition method. Here we use the software testing techniques as well as black box testing that divides input domain into classes of data and with the help of these classes, data test case can be derived. An ideal test case identifies class of error that might require many arbitrary test cases to be executed before general error is observed. In equivalence partitioning, the equivalence classes are evaluated for a given input conditions. Whenever an input is given, then type of input condition is checked. So this is a class diagram for a partitioning testing where input cases and systems are tested with the help of process. This is an example of a testing case where admission process is carried out.